You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back to the Cabral HouseCalls. It's great to be with you here today. Excited that we can start the show off right on this Saturday. Hopefully you are tuning in on Saturday when the show does go live for the very first time. But whenever you tune in, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming back, listening to all of our community's questions. We do these every Saturday and Sunday every single week. I told you that very soon we'll find out how many questions we've answered here on our house calls on the weekend. And, it's been a lot. It's been many thousand. And it's something that I very much enjoy doing. I realized that many years ago, having had a private practice for, quite some time, that there were only so many people I could speak with in a given day. And that's because as a natural health practitioner, as an integrative health practitioner, as a doctor of naturopathy who has many different interests and wants to help people to the greatest possible means, I knew that the max amount of people I could see in a day is maybe 8 to 10. So at that point, I wanted to start something called a podcast, the Cabral Concept Podcast. And it was that if I could reach more people out there, even if I couldn't see them in person, would I be able to affect greater change? And that was the goal. And now, many years later, 3+ years later, we have been able to really create a global health community of so many amazing people that are part of the Facebook group, that write in on the weekend, that share their success stories on Instagram with me. And it's an amazing time, really, to be in this natural health field. It's also why I'm very excited to all of the certified integrative health practitioners that are out there that we are creating over at integrativehealthpractitioner.org are going to be able to pass along this mission. They're going to be able to do more of that one-on-one work, whereas I'm now trying to move into a realm of teaching as much as I can to as many people as I can. And because of that, I'm seeing less one-on-one. I still do, but I also have a team that sees many hundreds of people every single month one-on-one as well. So just in a little aside to let you know kind of where we've come from and how things have progressed over the last few years, and that I never plan on stopping these Cabral House Calls. It's a great way for me to stay in touch with everyone out there and being able to answer those questions of those people in need. So, without further ado, let's dive into the show. The first question today is from Judy. She's asking, "Hi, I'm hoping you can help me. I suffer from chronic headaches, one per month that last 48 hours. They usually occur around the same time each month. They used to be more spread out, maybe 2 to 3 times per year. I was diagnosed years ago with sinus headaches, had an MRI, and no signs of anything sinus related. Doctors said the migraines could be due to red wine, cheese, etc. That didn't help. I've been seeing a chiropractor, getting massage regularly, thinking it could be spine or muscle tension, but they keep occurring. I've had 2 babies in the last 3 years, so I know nursing has made my posture terrible, along with sitting at a desk working for 16+ years. I even went to a neurologist 2 months ago, and that was a joke. I listen to your podcast and really love the information you provide your listeners. I'm hoping you can help me." Well, Judy, I think we may have solved your problem. It does seem like you get your headache around the same time each month. Those were your exact words. So whenever someone says this, and whenever it's a female, and whenever they're still ovulating, I relate this back to an imbalance typically between estrogen and progesterone. This is quite common. We see it all the time in our practice, so Judy, you are not alone. What I can tell you is this. If you keep a adrenal hormone lab on hand, or a thyroid adrenal lab on hand if you want to see your thyroid levels as well, and you take it right when that headache comes on, you will be able to see if it's due to a huge surge in estrogen or a big drop in progesterone based on those specific days of the month. I'm leaning, my gut is telling me this is the issue, since most likely it's not a sinus issue, and you went to see a chiropractor, and you got massages, and you work with a neurologist. Sure, it could be biomechanical, but I don't think so. because it only affects you for 2 days every single month, and it seems to be around the same time every month. Judy, I believe that is where you'll find your answer. All right, Danielle is up next, or Daniela. Hi, first, I'd like to say I am so grateful that we have you. Thank you, Daniela. Thanks for all you do. I did the starter kit lab test about a year ago or so. I had high levels of mercury and aluminum, and the organic acids test showed no clear signs of candida or bacteria, but the health coach did say there were some backup markers indicating possible yeast or bacteria. So I did the Equilibrium Nutrition Heavy Metal Detox in October 2018, followed by the Intestinal Cleanse and Clean Gut Probiotic. I noticed that pretty soon after I started the heavy metal detox, I started having foul-smelling gas, which was very rare for me. It's been about 10 months or so, and I still find I have foul-smelling gas quite often. Any ideas of what could be causing it? Thanks. Well, I can tell you that the heavy metal detox, I can tell you exactly what's in it. So it's cilantro, Caraxel chlorella, a biofilm disruptor called fluorofilm, and vitamin C. So none of those things should cause any type of foul-smelling gas because they don't feed bacteria or yeast. However, I want to give you a little inkling into every once in a great while. And that's the nice thing of having seen well over 250,000 client appointments, is that the biofilm disruptor actually can remove a film, that's why it's called a biofilm disruptor, over bacteria or parasites or other yeast that is living in the intestines. So it's quite possible, although maybe not probable, but possible, that you remove this biofilm and now that bacteria is right there out in the open. This is something that I was taught about a decade ago. Yeah, about a decade ago when I was studying the gut microbiome at an advanced level. And what we often did was a lot of people had parasitic-based symptoms, but they wouldn't always show positive for parasites. And it was interesting on a stool test. So what we did is we would give them a biofilm disruptor for a month, and then we would test for parasites. And lo and behold, sometimes we would actually see the parasites at that point. Now what we do with our parasite protocol is simply put in the biofilm disruptor and allow you to get the benefits without even having to do an extra stool test. So my recommendation would actually be now, instead of lab testing, I mean, you're welcome to lab tests. I love lab testing. There's no doubt about it. But instead of seeing now if there's bacterial overgrowth, like if you can see it on a lab test, like on a stool test, again, the next test, if you did anything, would be a stool test. But if you don't want to do that, you could simply put the finances, the money, the investment towards the CBO protocol plus the citracidal to help with that. And so, again, I can't diagnose, cure, treat on a podcast. It's not what I do. But, you know, if it was someone and I didn't have their labs in front of me and they were saying this, then that would be my general suggestion. So hopefully that helps, Daniela. Thank you for writing in. Savannah's up next. Hi, Dr. Ball. I love the podcast. I listen to them almost every single day. Question for you. I've been getting these weird head pains. Out of nowhere, a very sharp pain and pressure will hit me like a lightning bolt. I do get headaches and migraines as well, but these pains only come at one at a time and are quite painful. I get them probably 5 to 10 times a day. I haven't had a head injury, so I'm not sure what it could be causing this. Any thoughts? Thanks. Well, couple things. Sharp headache pains are different than migraine pains. These sharp lightning bolt headache pains could be, I'm just going to give you a couple things they could be, okay? One is a drop in blood sugar, okay? A drop in blood sugar will sometimes give you sharp pains on the side of your head, little past the temple, right behind it. When I was experimenting with longer fasts, oftentimes I would get those headaches. What's going on here? Oh, okay, yes, there we go. It's a drop in blood sugar because what did I do? Well, I just pulled out my glucometer and I'm like, oh, my blood sugar is at a 68. And that, for me, that's too low. I start to get a little bit hangry, a little bit irritable, sometimes some headaches. So that's one. Another one is tension or stress. So that's another big one. You're staring at your computer screen, the glare on the screen, you're starting to get a little tense, and you could get those sharp pains. Another one is hormonal imbalance. Very, very possible. Always possible, okay? Again, typically with estrogen dominance. Food reaction, that could be another one. So you ate a food that caused some type of higher cytokine release or histamine-based response, and you're getting those sharp pains. Or it could be neck-based impingement. So kind of like what we were talking about in the very beginning of today's show with Judy, although I think Judy's are different. than yours, Savannah. It could be actually some type of impingement in the nerve or around the nerves. So basically, it's called the neuromuscular system. And the nerves can fire the muscles that can cause that sharp pain. They contract and you get that pain. So I'd explore all of them. I would certainly see a muscular therapist or a good chiropractor to look at the cervical vertebrae and the muscles around the neck, which are called the levator scapulae, the upper trapezius muscles, the scalenes. All of those are important to look at, the SCM muscles, and they'll be able to judge that. So thank you for writing in. All right, Anonymous is up next, and Anonymous warns me right ahead of time with long question warning. All right, let's get into Anonymous's question. Everyone can head on over to stevencabral.com/1324 to read the whole question in full. Since this will take a long time to read, I'm going to give you the gist of it. All right, so Anonymous wrote in saying, I stopped birth control in April 2018 after 10 years of taking it. I went from May to December without a cycle, and in December, I barely had 2 noteworthy cycles. I haven't had one since. Okay, so then that means you haven't had one in about 9 months since I'm reading this. Overall symptoms below before stopping the pill and after. I've traditionally had allergy testing, and I'm allergic to basically everything outdoors. I have been since birth. I'm allergic to some foods. All right, let's go on. I eat regular whole food nutrition, do regular exercise. I have very low vitamin D. I was on 50,000 IUs for a month and then 1,000 a day. All right, let's go through a little bit more. I have insomnia. Okay. Wake up restless with discomfort. I have fatigue. I have brain fog, memory problems, low sex drive, hair falling out, breaking, brittle eyebrows, thinning hair, ringing in the ears, always feel cold, lack of excitement. I don't have any hobbies anymore, inability to lose weight. Okay, I think I've got the gist. Varicose veins, etc. All right, well, here we go. So there's a couple labs I want you to run. My top recommendations, hands down, are the thyroid adrenal hormone, because it certainly sounds like you have low cortisol, burnt out, and it certainly sounds like you have low thyroid. Hands down, that's what I'm thinking, but again, I need the labs to back that up. If you're not able to run labs with us, you could even get a lot of these labs potentially run. If you can try to get it done through insurance, most people can't, but you can always try. And then you could become a private wellness client, and we can give you a customized program if you want. I mean, however you want us to help you, we can help you, but we will need to be able to get some lab readings. All right. We can look at the lower cortisol output throughout the day. It should be at least a 9 total. You might not be a 9. And then we have to get the vitamin D up. Nobody should take 50,000 IUs at a time. I don't believe in the mega dosing. It's not great for pulling calcium out of the bones and into the bloodstream. I recommend about 35 IUs per pound of body weight per person per day, almost year round, and then actually checking your blood work to make sure it's between 50 to 70 or 50 to 80 nanograms per milliliter. Okay, what else do I recommend? You have allergies, you always have, but you also have food sensitivities. I couldn't recommend enough looking at an organic acids test, potentially stool test, to look at intestinal-based permeability. So that's that. I mean, that, and then a hair tissue mineral analysis to see if you're low on magnesium, because a lot of this sounds like you're low on magnesium. There could also be higher copper than zinc. Again, the big 5 labs is the way to go. Whenever you have big, major issues, even if you have to save for a while, I understand it. But those big 5 labs, whether you run them locally, whether you run them with an integrative health practitioner, whether you run them through equilibriumnutrition.com right at home, those are the labs that are going to give you the data. So if you can't run them all, run them. I just kind of put them in order of importance for you. I do hope that that helps. And of course, we want to help in any way that we can. All right, Jessica is up next. Jessica writes in, hello, Dr. Cabral. I want to start off by saying that I'm so excited to be part of your IHP Level 1 and 2 training programs. Before I ask my questions, let me give you a brief background about my current challenge. I have been on the fence for quite some time now. I have 9 amalgam fillings. I want to take them out before I have my second child, but I'm afraid to disturb them pre-conception. My now almost 5-year-old, thankfully, is fine. I breastfed for 2.5 years, and I'm afraid that these amalgams fade. They will continue to leach, and I am afraid of conceiving again without them. With them in. I'm worried for both mine and my future baby's health, keeping them or removing them pre-conception. I've received varied opinions from naturopaths, functional medicine doctors that I trust, and my dentist, who happens to be a biological dentist. I'm a researcher and have done a lot of research and couldn't come up with any compelling evidence that shows no harm to baby if amalgams are taken out before conception. However, now know how unhealthy it is to keep them in. I also listen to your Cabral concept amalgam fillings. I'm now considering you one of my go-to sources and would appreciate your guidance. Thanks again for all your great work. You and your work are a true gift, Jessica. Jessica, thank you very much. I appreciate the compliments. I really do. And I'm happy to help. And I have strong feelings on this. So here's the thing. If you've already conceived, you're with child, you're not going to have your mercury amalgams taken out. If you're breastfeeding, you're not going to have your mercury amalgams taken out because, believe it or not, you will actually release more mercury into your body when you take them out than you would while they're still in your mouth. And that's because when they're in your mouth, they're only leaching a very small amount every time you chew because the edges start to upturn after years of having them in. I had mine in for like 15 years, and I showed photos in my book, The Rain Barrel Effect. All the edges were upturned. Every time I would eat and chew, they would leach more mercury into my body. So I had mine taken out. Now, totally understand where you're coming from. What I say is this, and I've done many podcasts now on conceiving and getting your body as healthy as possible. If you are 6 months to a year out from conceiving your next child, you can absolutely have them taken out. The problem is this, you have 9. And I don't recommend taking 9 out all at the same time because that can be quite a mercury load in the body, even though you go to one of the IAOMT.org certified biological dentists, like I have mine in Boston. And my daughters go there as well, but of course they would never get mercury amalgams put in their mouth. So here's the deal. You might want to get 2 or 3 removed at a time. So you're going to have this done 3 times. And every time you do it, you're going to have to do the heavy metal detox. And you're going to most likely want to invest in a sauna. One of the portable saunas is great, or any sauna that you want, but you need to be doing a sauna. Even an infrared sauna would be even better to keep pulling mercury out of your body when you go to have them removed, because they do cut them in half. That's how they take them out of your mouth. And even if you use the rubber dam and you use the vents and you use all these great things, there will still be mercury release. Now, here's the thing. Your body, if it's ramping up, you're doing a functional medicine detox, you're doing your sauna, and you're doing your heavy metal detox, okay, it's going to help to remove that to a greater degree. However, it could lock it still in some of the adipose tissue, etc. Okay, so we could go on and on about this all day, back and forth. I could give you all these different views. Here's what I would do if this was my wife. I would say, all right, we are not going to look to conceive for about 7 to 9 months from now. What I'm going to do right now is get my body in the best healthy order possible, and so I'm going to do this. I'm going to get 3 amalgams removed right away. And then in another 6 to 8 weeks, I'm going to get 3 more removed. And then in another 6 to 8 weeks, I'm going to get another 3 removed, and then I will have all of them gone. So I'm going to have all of them gone in about 5 months' time or so. Then I'm going to really focus on another 12 weeks, about another 12 weeks of detoxing, ramping up detox, and getting those metals out of my body. And then after that, I'm going to say, okay, I did everything I needed to. My body's now clean, and now I'm going to try to conceive. So that's how I would personally look at it. But at the same time, you could also do this. Or you're going to wait until you are done breastfeeding your next child, and then you might go through the process. So there are multiple ways of looking at it, and I do hope that helps. All right, let's get in one more question. The next question is from Kerry. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I wake up many times during the night feeling stiff and uncomfortable. I usually roll to my other side, to my back, and get back to sleep quickly, only to wake again later. I also wake most mornings with a dull headache. What could be causing this? Well, Kerry, this could actually be an improper pillow, head position, and body position. This is actually not uncommon that it might not be something greater than this. So I've given lots of talks and lots of podcasts on dropping in and out of hypoglycemia, low blood sugar during the night. It can be anxiety. If you're anxious, let me give you 2 things to do. Again, these are suggestions over a podcast, but here's a couple of suggestions. Try the Ultimate Deep Sleep Protocol. Just try it for a week, 2 weeks. You'll already know by then. It's 1 adrenal soothe at lunch, 2 adrenal soothe at dinner, 2 full spectrum magnesium at dinner. Then you're going to do some magnesium citrate before bed, and you can do a little bit of liquid melatonin. You can do 2 caps of the deep sleep support. So that's going to get you to sleep, no doubt about it. Try that for a week or 2. That is the best sleep protocol out there. I can guarantee you that because it works on every facet of sleep. Now, let's say that you still are tossing and turning, rolling around, whatever it might be. I would actually look at what's your head position. Now, a lot of people don't know this, and I don't think I've ever talked about this before, but when you put your head on the pillow, your ear, let's say you're sleeping on your left side, your right ear should not be closer to your right shoulder, nor should it be further away than what's called a neutral position. Your spine should actually be straight as if you were standing up, meaning like when you lay in your pillow, is your head tilted too far down on the mattress or is it tilted too far up towards the ceiling? Because it should be level with the rest of your body as if you were looking straight ahead. This is very important. So check to make sure that you are not propped up on multiple pillows or that you don't have such a flat pillow that your head is literally lying on top of that left shoulder if you're on your left side. This could be causing serious issues, which is why maybe when you roll to your back, you feel more comfortable because your spine gets back into a neutral position. So I would look at that. It could be honestly as simple as that. So either fix the pillow, fix the mattress if your mattress is too saggy, because you don't want too saggy a mattress, too soft a mattress. You actually want not really hard, firm, but you want a firmer mattress. That's better for most people. And then if the pillow fix isn't it, because you haven't changed your pillow in years, then try that deep sleep protocol, and that may just be the fix for you as well. And then you can begin to wean off of that too. So hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to keep it at that for today for questions. I'll be back, of course, tomorrow answering more of our Cabral House Calls. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Always a pleasure. Again, if this show is helpful, if it was helpful, if you believe it could serve anyone else, please do feel free to share it with them. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only two ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.